How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to 2A News Now. And as always, I appreciate everybody that takes time out of their busy schedule to watch my videos, as well as those who continue to support the channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing and hitting those post notifications, as well as leaving comments in the comment section. I really do appreciate it. On March 19th of 2024, Bryan Malinowski's home was raided by the ATF. The raid was conducted in pre-dawn hours, and it was a no-knock raid. And at that time, Bryan Malinowski was the executive director of Little Rock's Bill and Hillary Clinton National Airport. And during that no-knock raid, Bryan Malinowski thought there were intruders in his home, and he shot in fear of his life as well as his wife's life. And in return, he was shot in the head and killed by a member of the ATF. And sometime last month, Bryan Malinowski's widow has filed a lawsuit against the United States of America. And in this suit, Bryan Malinowski's wife wants the government to return 35 firearms and approximately 22,032 rounds of ammunition that was confiscated in that raid. According to the affidavit that was used to secure the search warrant of Bryan Malinowski's house, they claim he was selling guns at gun shows without a dealer's license. But according to the Malinowski's attorneys, the family claims he was selling firearms legally. Or at least Bryan Malinowski thought he was selling firearms legally, with what some people call the gun show loophole, which is also known as a private sale. And according to the government's attorneys, since they claim Bryan Malinowski was breaking the law, the guns and ammo were seized as a forfeiture. The lawsuit that Bryan Malinowski's widow filed, that the guns and ammunition that were confiscated should be returned, because the government at the time of the filing of this lawsuit had not filed any charges against Bryan Malinowski, and the government has failed to prove any illegal activity on the part of Bryan Malinowski, including any proof that Bryan Malinowski was breaking the law. And the judge in this case is requiring the government to respond to the lawsuit sometime this month. Of course, if somebody fires on a law enforcement officer, they're going to return fire. And that's what happened in this case. And I'm not blaming the ATF agent himself that shot and killed Bryan Malinowski. And a lot of people, as well as myself, call this murder. Bryan Malinowski was an executive at a popular airport, and he made pretty good money. And nobody has said anything about that he's threatened to hurt anybody, and he had no criminal record. So there was no reason to do a no-knock raid in the early morning hours before the sun rises, to bust into somebody's house while they're sleeping. Of course they're going to think that somebody's breaking into their house. And they have a right to protect their home, as well as themselves and their family. And that's what Bryan Malinowski did. Bryan Malinowski would still be alive. Because of poor planning, they decided to go in with the team. Like somehow Bryan Malinowski was a career criminal and had killed a whole bunch of people. Like I said, he was an airport executive that sold guns privately at a gun show. But he was no threat to anybody. They could have did it in a safer manner, like I said, where he would still be alive. They very well could have staked him out. And of course he has to definitely go to work. So they could have waited until he left for work and stopped him along the way. And then brought him back to his home and served that search warrant. They even could have took him at his job. Because most likely Bryan Malinowski isn't bringing a firearm into the airport. But no, the almighty ATF had to do it their hard way. They had to do it their way. They did it the cowardly way. And Bryan Malinowski was killed by an ATF agent. He was shot in the head. And I hope Bryan Malinowski's widow wins the lawsuit and gets those guns and ammunition back. And hopefully soon after Donald Trump takes office and a new ATF director is put in place, that we'll see less of the ATF raiding the homes and businesses of law-abiding citizens and doing what they should be doing, going after the hardened criminals, the criminals that do this for a living, the criminals that use firearms in their crimes. As always, I would really like to hear your thoughts about today's video in the comment section. And because of all of you guys, and also the new subscribers that have come aboard, in the past month or so there's been over 1,000 new subscribers, as well as every time I post a video. You guys are always crushing it by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and hitting those post notifications, as well as leaving a lot of comments. And I really do appreciate it. And I do read all of the comments, but it's just really hard for me to answer them, especially a lot of time when I'm on grandpa duty. And lately I've been doing a lot of that, and also the little man has been sick for a while. And as always, I invite all of you to come back and watch my next video.